I'm Harry Kaiser, and I'm the Gellert Family Professor of Applied Economics at Cornell University. My main areas of expertise are agricultural marketing and policy, with an emphasis on the economics of generic promotion programs. I've published over 130 peer-reviewed articles and 5 books in these areas since I received my doctorate in 1985. I'm here today to provide beef producers and importers who invest in the Beef Checkoff program a summary of my recent study on the returns they are receiving on those investments. The purpose of this study was to address 2 crucial questions regarding the Cattlemen's Beef Board marketing programs. First, what has been the impact of CBB marketing on U.S. beef demand, both in the domestic and in the foreign markets? Second, how do these benefits of the CBB marketing programs compare to their costs? In other words, are these programs profitable for beef producers and importers? The U.S. Department of Agriculture requires every federal research and promotion program to have an independent return on investment evaluation every 5 years. The Beef Checkoff program was due for another such study in 2014, and the Beef Board commissioned me earlier this year to provide it. My study uses comprehensive econometric models to answer these questions. It also allows me to quantify the net return on investment to beef producers and importers of CBB-funded programs for the period 2006 through 2013. Let me start by saying that the news for Beef Checkoff investors couldn't be better. If I was investing my hard-earned dollars into a checkoff program, as beef producers and importers are, I would be very pleased with the returns based on what I found in this study. It is clear to me from this comprehensive analysis, both of individual as well as overall beef checkoff activities combined, that the marketing activities of the CBB had a substantial impact on beef demand, both in U.S. as well as in foreign markets. The return on producers and importers' investments into this national checkoff program is vastly greater than the costs. In fact, I found that the combined benefits of all programs funded by the CBB were 11.2 times greater than their costs. In other words, an incremental dollar invested in CBB activities generated a return of $11.20 in additional net revenue to those who invested in the program. Overall, had there not been any CBB-funded marketing over the time period that I looked at, domestic beef demand would have totaled 15.7 billion pounds less than it was with the checkoff program in place. That represents 11.3% of total domestic beef demand, and that is a sizable return on investment. Some of you might also remember that the last macroeconomic study of the Beef Checkoff's return on investment reported a return of $5.55 on each checkoff dollar invested. Obviously, the findings of this latest study suggest more than double that return. But let me caution you about trying to compare the results of these 2 studies directly. And there are a number of reasons for this. Most importantly, given the tremendous budget challenges of the checkoff program in recent years, the Beef Board asked for a more comprehensive study than ever before. With that in mind, I evaluated all beef use or commercial disappearance, including retail, food service, and international data, whereas the Beef Board's 2009 study look solely at domestic retail data. Furthermore, my study categorized individual categories of 9 separate marketing activities, and those included things like generic beef advertising, retail and food service marketing, industrial information, new product development, public relations, nutritional research, product enhancement research, and finally foreign market development. In 2009, the Beef Board commissioned a study analyzing only the checkoff as a whole and used retail data only based on sample of households measuring demand as the number of servings of beef consumed. In thinking about the difference in the ROI from the 2009 and this current study, it's important to keep in mind that my study covers a span of 8 years versus the 5 years covered in the 2009 study. So the latest study basically provides a more comprehensive view of overall value. Finally, the CBB simply might have become even more efficient and more profitable since the 2009 study was completed. With all these factors in mind, you can clearly see that it's important not to compare these two studies directly. So here's a quick overview of how that nets out over each individual program area. Had there been no generic beef advertising, domestic beef demand would have been 0.7% lower than it actually was over the study period. Had there been no retail and food service or channel marketing, beef demand would have been 0.6% lower. Had you shaved away industry information marketing, including your quality assurance program and beef industry reputation management, demand would have been 0.2% lower. With none of the national checkoff new product development, domestic beef demand would have been 1.2% lower. Without the human nutrition research programs that the Checkoff program accomplished during the study period, which is also very important to consumers, domestic beef demand would have been 3% lower than it actually was. Had the Checkoff program not completed beef safety research during this period, domestic beef demand would have been 2.1% lower, while the loss of product enhancement research would have chopped off another 0.4% of your demand growth. Finally, had the National Beef Checkoff program not invested in foreign market development, foreign beef demand would have been 6.4% lower. Well, your investments into the National Beef Checkoff program are providing a benefit cost ratio that any business, big or small, would be proud to claim. The increase in beef demand due to CBB-funded marketing efforts have resulted in higher prices for both beef producers and importers, as well as a higher volume of beef sold in the U.S. as well as in foreign markets. So in short, this means higher net revenue for U.S. cattlemen than they would have experienced without those checkoff investments. Well, this has been an extremely simplified version of a fairly complicated econometric model. So I would encourage you to learn more about this study as well as its implications by visiting the evaluation section of mybeefcheckoff.com and reading the report's introduction as well as its executive summary.